my gosh, look at the spectacular sunrise. There's so many colors in the sky.
Great consolation prize.
Fake news?
Can we look at our BT Extra screen? Because I think the moon is almost set, because you're here in Toronto. Can we take a look at our BT Extra?
Was that really a live shot, guys? No, was it?
Yeah,
that was a live
looking
shot.
east, though. That's where the sun was coming up.
But the moon was, I think the moon set
Gotcha.
time is 7:25. So if we go to our second screen, it's not available. Oh, okay. Anyway, I believe the moon has set, but we're going to talk about the eclipse anyway, because take a look at what NASA is feeding us. They've been feeding us some stuff from the West Coast where the moon. We're going to see a complete.
Pretty exciting
with that music. I want to go to the U of T right now. Professor Renee Hlozek joins me right now, and whenever you're in a court of law, oh, we lost her. It's coming up, though.
It's
we got her again?
I'm telling you, it's the effects of the super blood blue moon. Weird things are happening today.
I was about to say that. Good morning, Professor. Are you there?
Good morning. How are you?
Okay.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
In a court of law, you have to prove someone's credentials. All right. She went to Oxford. She was a Rhodes Scholar. Before coming to the Dunlap Fellowship, she was the Lyman Spitzer Jr. Postdoctoral Research Fellow in the Department of Astrophysics at Princeton.
Okay, that's enough right there.
And a Spitzer-Kotzen Fellow in the Princeton Society of Fellows.
Overqualified for our show.
Just to sum it up, she's a big deal.
So, the moon. This eclipse, we're all looking at it as a big deal because it's something we can physically see. Is this a big deal?
Yeah. You know what? It's a big deal because the moon is amazing, and we love looking at it. You said yourself, the moon has always been present in people's minds, and it's something that they look at. In terms of science, it's not a huge deal unless you do lunar laser ranging. So some of my colleagues who beam lasers off the moon, they are interested in eclipses because it changes the sunlight on the moon. But really, we just like what it looks like.
And in terms of pseudoscience, is it true that since we are comprised mostly of water, that the moon, a full moon, actually affects and shifts the tide of the ocean, which in turn affects us?
So it does shift the tide of the ocean, but you yourself, there are so many other important things that are changing your body. You're more likely to be influenced by the sandwich that you ate than by the moon.
Oh, so that's what that gas is. Thank you, Professor.
Sorry. Sorry.
And Adam, we got a little ripped off here because of the clouds that moved in.
Yep. But it was never going to be a great show for us because the moon was setting while the good stuff was happening, right?
No.
The thing we have to appreciate.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. So.
Go ahead.
We don't see the full eclipse here.
The thing we have to appreciate, too, is there is a significance in the size of our sun, the size of the Earth, and the size of the moon. Tell me about that.
It's actually the relationship between the size of the moon and the distance that we can see. So actually there's the ratio, they're about 400 times different. And that makes a difference because it allows us to have eclipses happen. So one of the things that we know is that the distance between the Earth and the moon is actually changing. The moon is getting slightly further away from us, and so eclipses will be a little bit different if we wait long enough, millennia. They'll be different.
Aside from NASA, who is getting a beautiful look at this moon? Like, where in the world?
So folks on the western side of the United States and of Canada are going to get a good view. We don't get a good view here, and so we have to wait a little bit longer. But if you're on the western coast, you should be seeing something beautiful.
Okay, send us some pictures if anybody has any.
In fact, we were just looking at a shot from the Armstrong Research Center, which is at Edwards Air Force Base in California. So they're going to see a full eclipse there,
yes.
Adam?
Yes, they're going to get it in California.
They're going to see a full eclipse.
Absolutely. One of the things I'm always fascinated on is that they can predict eclipses like hundreds of years in advance. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's really incredible. So the eclipses are really set by the gravitational forces between the moon, the Earth, the sun, and you can really predict with pretty great certainty for a lot of the eclipses in the future. And in fact, one of the tests of eclipses has been to test gravitational models, which is why I mentioned the laser ranging. They actually test Einstein's theory of relativity by checking the distance between the moon and the Earth.
Adam
it's pretty amazing how precise it can be.
Can he use any of this for his forecast? These prognosticating accurate tools for even, let's say, the next day. Perhaps we can have a little crisscross over.
Need to get a laser in the budget.
Yeah, listen, if they can tell me if the they can tell me about the TTC, that would be awesome. But
Yeah, no, let's not even talk about that this morning. All right, Professor.
Well done.
Want to thank you so much for chatting with us, Professor Renee Hlozek, right now, for talking to us from the University of
That's such a
Toronto
pleasure.
and the Dunlap Fellowship. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, so she can tell
Right.
when the next eclipse
Light
is going,
years
or the
ahead.
eclipse is going to be in maybe 2050. But you're having trouble telling us what Saturday is going to be like.
Yeah, Saturday's a tough one.
Don't worry, Adam. Guess why?
I need a laser. That's why we need to get it in the budget for next year.
Guess what? He's going to go see the prognosticating genius.
That's right. The
Jesus.
Martin Willie on Friday, of course.
It's certainly not Jesus. It is actually
Didn't rehearse that. Coming up, if yesterday wasn't bad enough, more problems in the subway this morning, again on line 1. Now we'll have a full update in just a moment.